Hello, my friends. My name is Dr. Robert Ellis. After more than 50 years working in the field of elder care and geriatric medicine, I've come to understand something simple yet deeply profound. A long life isn't built on medicine alone. It's shaped by the small, repeated habits we nurture every single day. And often, it's not the treatments or the diagnoses that make the biggest difference. It's the quiet, everyday acts of self-respect, the way we care for our own bodies, even when no one is watching. One thing that has surprised me over the years is just how many older adults, good, intelligent, thoughtful people, tend to overlook certain parts of their body during something as routine as a shower. And while it may seem trivial at first glance, this neglect can quietly erode the immune system, invite infections, and slowly chip away at one's overall quality of life. So today, I want to share something with you, not as a warning, but as an offering from someone who's walked this road for a long time. I want to help you protect the body that has carried you through decades of life. In this video, we'll explore 5 key areas of the body that should be cleaned mindfully and thoroughly every single day, especially after the age of 60. These are places that, when cared for properly, can greatly reduce your risk of health complications and increase your comfort, dignity, and vitality. Let's begin gently, clearly, and remember, you're not just washing away dirt, you're honoring the vessel that still carries you through this beautiful, ongoing life. 1. The FT. A mirror of your circulation. Many people believe that letting water run over their feet in the shower is enough, and for most of our younger years that might seem true. But as we age, especially if we're living with conditions like diabetes or poor blood circulation, this assumption can quietly become a risk. The feet are far more than just the parts of us that carry weight. They are in many ways a reflection of our internal health, particularly our vascular and nervous system. What many older adults don't realize is that the spaces between the toes, beneath the toenails, and around the heels are perfect environments for bacteria and fungus to thrive. Warm, often moist, and frequently overlooked, these areas can develop infections that start small, perhaps a bit of flaking or redness, but escalate into ulcers or cellulitis that are difficult to treat and slow to heal. Even more concerning, age often brings a gradual loss of sensation in the feet, meaning that by the time a problem is felt, it may already be advanced. But here is the good news. It takes only a few seconds of focused care each day to make a real difference. Gently wash each toe, clean around and under the nails, and take special care to scrub the heels, where dry skin often builds up. After washing, be sure to dry the feet completely, especially between the toes, and apply a light moisturizer to maintain the skin's elasticity and resilience. Think of it not as a cosmetic routine, but as vascular care. Your feet are not an afterthought, they are early messengers of your body's overall health. And when you take the time to care for them each day, you're not just cleaning carpets. You're tending to your roots, your foundation, your connection to the earth and to mobility itself. 2. The scalp. Skin you can't see but shouldn't ignore. As we grow older, many of us naturally begin to pay less attention to our hair and scalp. Some might cut their hair short for convenience, while others may have thinning or balding areas and assume there's little need for upkeep. But let me be clear about something I've seen too many times in my practice. Your scalp is still skin, and like all skin, it breathes, it sweats, it produces oil, and yes, it can become a source of chronic inflammation and infection if neglected. What often goes unseen becomes easy to forget. Yet beneath our hair, or where our hair once was, are thousands of sebaceous glands producing oil. And when that oil isn't gently washed away, it mixes with dead skin cells, sweat, and pollutants from the air. Over time, this creates a layer of buildup that you can't feel until it's already doing harm. Infections may begin subtly with itching, flaking, or dryness, but they can worsen into more serious conditions like folliculitis or bacterial infections, particularly in those with weakened immunity. There is also something deeply underestimated about the power of touch on the scalp. A few minutes of gentle massage while washing can increase blood flow to the head and neck, stimulating both lymphatic drainage and circulation. This not only supports skin health, but also promotes mental clarity and emotional calm. For many older adults, these few moments under warm water can bring not just cleanliness, but a kind of peace. Quiet, grounding, and deeply needed. If you have hair, use a mild shampoo and let your fingertips, not your nails, do the work. If you are bald or have thinning hair, use a gentle cleanser or simply warm water with a soft cloth to remove oil and debris, and afterward dry the scalp carefully. A clean, nourished scalp does more than reduce discomfort. It reinforces your body's outer defense system, helping protect you from microbes and irritants you may never even see. So even if no one else notices, and even if the mirror tells you there's less hair than there used to be, I urge you, don't forget your scalp. It still matters, it's still alive, and it still deserves your care every bit as much as the rest of you. 3. The navel, a small hollow with big consequences. Among all the parts of the human body, the navel, or belly button, is perhaps one of the most easily forgotten. It's small, it's hidden, and for most of our lives we assume it takes care of itself. But let me tell you, from decades of medical experience, the navel can quietly become one of the dirtiest parts of the body, especially as we age. Over the years, I've seen more infections than I can count that started in this tiny, neglected hollow. You see, the navel is a recessed space, a warm, moist, often dark environment where sweat, dead skin cells, lint from clothing, and even residual soap can accumulate. Left untouched, it becomes an ideal breeding ground for bacteria, yeast, and fungus. What may start as mild redness or an odd smell can develop into a condition called omphalitis, an infection of the navel that is not only uncomfortable but can be slow to heal in older adults, especially those with diabetes or a compromised immune system. What makes the navel tricky is that problems often go unnoticed. We don't tend to look there. We may not feel discomfort until the infection is well underway. And in rare cases, hardened material can even form what's known as a navel stone, a compact mass that must be removed by a healthcare provider. But here's the beauty of prevention. Caring for your navel takes less than a minute a day. After you've finished your normal wash, simply wrap your fingertip with a clean washcloth or use a soft cotton swab. Gently clean inside the navel using warm water and a mild unscented soap. Be careful not to scrub too hard. This skin is delicate. Then, and this is vital, make sure to dry it thoroughly. Moisture left behind invites microbial growth, and drying well is just as important as washing. And if you've had abdominal surgery or carry weight that creates skin folds in the area, I encourage you to be even more attentive. In these cases, the risk of moisture retention and irritation increases. A clean, dry navel may not be something we think of when we imagine longevity, but in truth, it's one of those small acts of daily care that reflects great wisdom. So the next time you bathe, pause a moment for that quiet little place at your center. It may not demand your attention, but it quietly deserves it. 4. The underbreast area. A quiet place where trouble hides. There is a certain modesty that comes with aging. We learn to live with our changing bodies, adapting to what sags, softens, or settles over time. But in that gentle acceptance, there are places that too often go unnoticed. One of them is the underbreast area, a warm, enclosed fold of skin that, if not cared for properly, becomes a breeding ground for discomfort, infection, and long-term irritation. This area is particularly vulnerable for older women, though it can also affect men, especially those who carry extra weight or have undergone surgery. The space beneath the breast is naturally warm and frequently moist. It is shielded from air circulation, covered by bras or layers of clothing, and subjected to daily friction. Sweat collects there easily, and with it comes the perfect storm: moisture, heat, darkness, and a lack of airflow. These are the conditions where bacteria and fungi thrive. The problem often begins subtly: a little itching, a slight redness, a faint odor. But without proper care, this can quickly escalate into a condition called intertrigo, a painful rash that, if left untreated, can become infected, open, and even lead to ulceration. Some of the women I've treated over the years waited too long to speak up, perhaps out of discomfort or embarrassment, and by the time they did, healing was no longer simple. It became a matter of ongoing care, medication, and loss of comfort that could have been easily prevented. Caring for this area is not complicated, but it does require intention. After every shower, gently lift the breast and wash the area beneath with mild soap and warm water. Rinse well to remove any soap residue. Then, perhaps most importantly, pat the skin completely dry with a soft towel. Not roughly, but thoroughly. Never leave the area damp. Moisture that lingers becomes a silent invitation to fungal growth. For those especially prone to sweating or chafing, a light dusting of unscented body powder or cornstarch can help maintain dryness. If you've had breast surgery, such as a mastectomy or reconstruction, be especially gentle. Scar tissue and altered skin surfaces may require extra care. I always remind my patients this is not about vanity. This is about dignity and well-being. The skin beneath your breasts, though not often seen by others, is still a part of you. It is deserving of the same respect and care as your hands, your face, your heart. A few mindful moments each morning can mean the difference between irritation and comfort, between complication and ease. So let's not forget this quiet place, this hidden fold of the body. What's covered is not invisible to your health, and what you care for consistently can, and often does, spare you needless suffering. 5. The groin area, vulnerable, often neglected, deeply important. Now we come to perhaps the most delicate region of all, the groin. For many people, even saying the word aloud brings discomfort. There is a cultural tendency, especially among older generations, to avoid discussing anything related to this part of the body. But as a doctor who has seen the consequences of avoidance, I must speak plainly. The groin area is one of the most sensitive and vulnerable zones in the aging body, and it absolutely must not be overlooked. With age comes change. The skin becomes thinner, muscle tone shifts, folds deepen. Many older adults experience incontinence, limited mobility, or prolonged sitting. These factors combine to create the perfect environment for moisture buildup, skin breakdown, and microbial overgrowth. And when the groin area is not cleaned properly and regularly, seemingly minor issues like a bit of itching, redness, or discomfort can quietly evolve into more serious conditions such as yeast infections, fungal rashes, intertrigo folliculitis, or even infected ulcers. Infections in this region spread quickly. The groin is home to major lymph nodes and vital connective tissue, meaning that even a small wound or rash can escalate fast and affect the body more broadly. I've treated patients who ignored early signs, too modest to speak up, too uncertain of what was normal, and later found themselves needing antibiotics, wound care, or even hospitalization. But just like the other areas we've talked about, prevention here is simple, respectful, and gentle. When bathing, use warm water and a mild, unscented soap. Clean carefully using your bare hands or a very soft cloth. Never anything abrasive. Pay attention to the folds of skin, the creases where friction and sweat collect. Once clean, rinse thoroughly and pat completely dry. Dryness is key. Moisture that lingers in this region can rapidly lead to skin damage. For individuals who experience frequent sweating or incontinence, consider applying a light talc-free body powder or a barrier cream to protect the skin and keep irritation at bay. And if there's ever an accident, no matter how small, clean the area right away. Don't wait for a smell or a rash to appear. By then, the skin is already sending signals of distress. Above all, I urge you to release any shame or hesitation about this part of your body. This is not about vanity. This is not about youth. This is about preserving dignity, comfort, and autonomy in the later years of life. The ability to walk, stretch, sleep, and move freely without discomfort. This is a quiet form of freedom, and it begins with daily care. So please, tend to this area with the same respect you give your face or your hands. It carries more than just your weight. It carries your privacy, your independence, and your ease of living. And that makes it worthy of your daily attention. As we come to the end of this conversation, I want to thank you for walking through this with me. I know that these topics, feet, scalps, navels, skin folds, and the groin, are not always the kind of things we discuss openly, but I believe they are exactly the kinds of things we must talk about, especially as we grow older. Because these small, hidden places, they are where our bodies speak the quietest truths. You see, in medicine, we are trained to look for patterns, to listen for symptoms, to catch the signs early before something becomes dangerous. But over the decades, I've come to see that it is daily habits, not just emergency treatments, that shape our health in the long run. And what I've shared with you today isn't a checklist for cleanliness. It's a kind of gentle defense against time. It's a way to preserve the dignity, the mobility, and the peace that every elder deserves. Caring for these parts of your body may only take 5 minutes a day, but those 5 minutes are powerful. They are acts of self-respect. They are reminders that even as we age, even as our bodies change, we can still show up with intention, with care, and with gratitude for the vessel that has carried us all these years. So I leave you with this thought. You are not just washing away sweat or dust. You are caring for the skin that has held your laughter, your tears, your memories. You are protecting your health not with medicine, but with mindfulness. And in doing so, you are extending not just your life, but the quality of it. Thank you for being here. And thank you for still choosing to care for your body, for your well-being, and for the quiet rituals that matter more than we often realize. Take good care of yourself. We'll talk again soon.